Great, thank you, Jim. Good evening, everyone. My name is Leslie Rattan, Board of Selectmen, and I'm with Scott Rogers, also the Board of Selectmen. We're here for the interview subcommittee meeting of August 11th, 2021. The open meeting of the Board of Selectmen Interview Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of June 16th, 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency. All members of the interview committee are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows the interview committee to meet entirely remotely as long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. Each vote taken this evening will be conducted by roll call vote. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Scott Rogers?
Here.
And Leslie Rattan, that's me, present. So the first thing we will do is begin our interviews for the Council on Aging. We have 2 openings and we have 2 interviews this evening for that. The first person on our agenda is Elizabeth Nasser. Good evening. Good evening. You're on remote. I'm not sure if you're both on mute or, okay.
Oh, sorry.
Good evening. Hi, Elizabeth, you go by Liz?
Liz, yeah.
You do, okay. And Adrienne Cost is also here. She is the chair of the Council on Aging. Good evening.
Hi, Adrienne. We met at a meeting in June, I think.
Okay. Adrienne, can you hear us? I just want to make sure she can, if her audio is on. It says connecting, but I'm not sure if it's. Adrienne?
Yeah, it looks like she's having trouble connecting.
Yeah. Do you know if you're on mute, Adrienne?
Yeah, I can tell it's a connection problem, not a.
Yeah, because she can't hear me either. Jim DiGiulio is our host. Jim, do you know whether there's a way to have her audio connect?
So in the bottom, I believe it would be left-hand corner with the little microphone, there's a gray up arrow. And if you click on that up arrow, you can choose the selection of a microphone or the selection of a speaker. I'm assuming it's trying to read a different speaker. I see connecting to audio. Oh, there is actually a microphone there. So
close.
Yeah.
How about now? Can you hear us now, Adrienne?
Uh-oh, now it's frozen. I see it as frozen. Is that what you see, Scott?
Yeah.
Okay. Adrienne, can you hear us? She's got the same problem, it looks like. I'm not having any luck here, unfortunately. So you can hear us, but we can't hear you, is what it looks like. Jim, any other suggestions?
So I'm looking to see if there's a dial by phone option, but I don't think that's set up. So I think the only way in is through the Zoom platform. My only other suggestion would be trying to connect an external headset, maybe a pair of like Apple headphones with a little mic on it. I know a lot of headphones have mics, but the headphones might work. I'm not too sure what could be going on. My only other suggestion again would be playing around with the select a microphone or select the speaker option, which again is in the bottom left-hand corner. It's the mute button, and you would just hit that up arrow, and then that would allow you to change your microphone or speaker settings.
She would have to do that though, right? We can't do that for her from here. Correct?
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way for me to go in. I think there is a way to request remote access, but again, I don't feel comfortable doing that, taking control of someone's computer. I've never used that option before.
Right.
Is there a chat option so Adrian could write questions if she can hear us?
Unfortunately, due to open meeting law, we have the chat function disabled.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't hear you. She's still muted.
Can you unmute, Adrian? Is there a way just to unmute? I wonder if that's just the only problem here.
Yep. So yeah, I've sent the ask to unmute, and so yeah, now the microphone has gone off, so it is open, but I don't see it reading anything.
Yeah, we can't.
We can't. Okay. I didn't want to keep Liz waiting too long either. I don't know what else to do at this point. Maybe at some point it will kick in. Why don't we begin with the interview? Liz, if you could introduce yourself. Again, we're on live stream, so if you could introduce yourself and explain a bit about yourself. Obviously, we see your application here, but members of the audience haven't seen that. So feel free to talk about yourself.
Okay, so my name's Liz Nasser. I've been a Northborough resident for almost 12 years, and I'm a geriatric neuropsychologist. And after all of the intensity of of the spring election, I felt like I wanted to get more involved in the town in some way. And so this seemed like a good match given my work. I am a psychologist who makes house calls. And I go to a lot of parts of the state, and in that work, I actually go to a lot of senior centers and work with different councils on aging in other towns. So have seen, some things that seem to work from my perspective, work for folks. And I actually didn't know and don't still know a tremendous amount of what our Council on Aging does, but I did sit in on a meeting that Adrian ran back in June. I was a silent listener at that meeting, but it seems like a great group of people, and I just feel like I know a lot about this population from my work, and have seen how the Council on Aging in other towns has enabled folks to age successfully and get appropriate support so that they can stay in their home or get appropriate resources. And I'm pretty tapped into a lot of different things in other communities, and in Worcester County as well. So I just feel like I have some things to offer both the council and the senior community in our town.
Wonderful. That sounds great. Just looking at Adrian, can you hear us at all? I get the impression she heard what you were saying, Liz. I think she's on mute is my only thing. What I'm basically going to do here is I'm on the town website here. I'm reading the Council on Aging description for you, obviously, and for members of the audience. The Council on Aging consists of, and again, this is something Adrian would do if she was able to hear us, but Council on Aging consists of 9 members appointed by the Board of Selectmen for 3-year terms. The purpose of the Council on Aging is to maintain or increase the quality of life for the mature citizens of the community. This is done through support, advocacy, planning, coordination, and implementation of programs that bring mature citizens together for social, recreational, and educational purposes. They seek to educate the entire community and enlist its support and participation. And they meet on the second Tuesday of the month at the Senior Center at 7 o'clock. Another question I have for you, Liz, is what would you like to see happen on this particular council? Do you have any goals, things that you would like to accomplish?
Well, I mean, I know there's a couple of programs that, and I'm not entirely sure if they're offered in Northborough or not, but that I've seen that are that have been successful. Like some towns have something called an "Are You OK" program, where they call family. You have to sign up for it, but they call, and it could be anything like a medication reminder. And so just making sure that we're tapped into the different services that might be offered within the state so that our seniors are getting, you know, things that other towns are getting as well. But I know that from the meeting that I sat in on, you know, Adrian and the other members were really focused on just trying to like create more awareness about what the senior center can do. And it's not, you know, I think people have some, don't really know everything about it, and they've tried all different kinds of creative ideas to get people even just to come to the table at Apple Fest. So that was the focus of that meeting. So yeah, I mean, I think, you know, one of the things that I've seen specifically in my work over the pandemic is how isolating it can be if you don't have a lot of supports around, if you're not driving anymore. And I've been, I mean, from a business perspective, fortunately, but from a people perspective, unfortunately, extremely busy the last 9 months or so. And I think in part because of the impact that a lot of the social isolation that happened as part of the pandemic had on our senior community when they couldn't go to places where they normally socialize or couldn't get some of those supports. So, you know, both trying to make the senior center itself as strong as it can be, but also just making sure that outside of the senior center that we're able to really support in whatever ways that, the elders in our community need to help them thrive in our town.
That's great. How is your schedule? Does this work for you in terms of when this group meets?
Yeah, Tuesdays at 7. Sure.
That works for you. Okay, just want to be sure first of all. Scott, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Liz?
Yeah, just Liz, other boards or community organizations that you've been a part of over the years? I know we crossed paths in terms of Northborough Youth Soccer for sure.
I was a soccer coach and then I retired from that. So no, I mean, I haven't really, you know, I've been on like the PTO and when my kids were in elementary school, but no, nothing else. So this would be my only commitment.
Great.
Do you have any questions of us or, oh, I wish Adrian could hear Adrian. I think she can hear us, but do you have any other questions of us about what this particular group does?
No, I mean, I got a sense of, you know, the committee itself when I sat in on the meeting. So, you know, I think just trying to make the Council on Aging as strong and as powerful as it can be in the community.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. I'm trying to think, I don't think there's anything else. You provided your background, and you have a very nice background. You've had a lot of experience. It's wonderful to see. I think that you would definitely be an asset to this group in a lot of ways. You have a lot of experience, and I think the fact that number one, what you do is very important, but the fact that you have worked in other communities, you know about what other councils on aging are doing. I think having that kind of rounded experience would be extremely helpful because your frame of reference is wonderful here.
Right.
So what we will be doing is we have another candidate, and again, there are 2 openings, 2 people, but we will be interviewing that person, and then we will be making motions at the end of our meeting tonight after we interview for another committee.
Okay.
And then we will be making appointments at our August 23rd Board of Selectmen meeting, after which point you would need to get sworn in by the town clerk.
Okay.
So that you can attend the meeting and vote.
Great.
So
super. Okay.
So sorry for the delay, and we appreciate your volunteering and wanting to be with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care.
Take care. You too. Adrian, don't go anywhere. I hope she hears.
So I did look into it. There is a dial by phone option. So Adrian, if you can hear me, if you go into that Zoom invite that you used to get in, there should be a dial by phone option there. You'll just need the meeting ID and password, but that should all be in the invite. And then once I see a phone number, I can bring you in that way.
Can you read the number out to her, Jim?
So since we are live on YouTube, I'm not sure if that's appropriate in this situation.
Yep.
And again, unfortunately, there is no other way. What I can do is change my name to my email address. So if she has any further questions, she can email me. So I don't know, my screen is frozen here,
It
but
did
if,
come through.
okay, so if you, Adrian, if you open up the participants panel down at the bottom and you look over to the right, you should see my email address over there. It's the beginning of it, and then J to Julio, and then it's the typical @town.northborough.ma.us. So I can see you talking, but I can't, I don't know, I can't hear you on my end, but if you want to shoot me an email, I'd be happy to communicate via email and try to help you access the meeting.
So it sounds like she can hear, but we can't. She's on mute. We'll give it a couple minutes just so she can access.
Bring that email down.
Yeah. Scott, I wonder if we could go ahead and approve the minutes.
That sounds like a great idea. So I move we approve the meeting minutes from July 14th, 2021 as submitted.
I second that. Is there any discussion?
No corrections.
Okay, sounds great. All those in favor? Scott?
Aye.
Okay, super. Okay, so we've done that. All right. I'm not sure how much longer to wait, really. We're running way behind at this point. Yeah, we're keeping the next person. We're 15 minutes behind now. I hope that Adrian maybe.
That phone number gets to her.
Yeah. Jim, have you received an email?
Not yet, but again, the Zoom invite that was sent should have that information at the bottom. I believe it was probably sent by Diane. So if you scroll to the bottom, it should have the, it would say participate by phone. It has a phone number to dial in, and then there's a meeting ID. So the phone would ask you for the meeting ID, and then it would ask you for the meeting password. So that's all at the bottom of the invitation. And then again, if you have any questions on how to access that or how to enter that in, feel free to shoot me an email, and I can try my best to help.
Okay. Okay, Scott, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess let's move along and bring Teresa in for her interview.
Yeah, I think we should. We've kept her waiting. Okay, Jim, if you wouldn't mind bringing in Teresa Lee.
Sorry.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, how are you?
Hi, good. Leslie Rattan, Board of Selectmen. Scott Robbins, Board of Selectmen, members of the interview committee. Welcome.
Thank you.
Apologize for the delay. We were having problems trying to get Adrienne Cost connected. She is the chair of the Council on Aging, so we feel it's pretty critical to have her here, but I think there's some communication thing with the Zoom features maybe. So we just didn't want to keep you waiting any further, so thank you.
Okay. I'll apologize up front for my dog who wants attention. You might hear him. Yeah.
Okay. Well, welcome to the interview for the Council on Aging. We have 2 positions open, and you are one of 2 people interviewing. We'll start off by having you introduce yourself and tell us about yourself. Again, we have your application, but members of the audience don't. So feel free to explain your background to us, please.
Sure. My name is Teresa Lee, and I'm a 21-year resident of Northborough. My career has been in fundraising, largely in higher education. The last 3 years, I became a consultant to nonprofits all over Massachusetts and actually out of state occasionally. Recently, starting in February, I took a permanent position at Tower Hill Botanic Garden in the advancement department, where I lead fundraising efforts for annual giving, some major gifts, and a little bit of membership activity. And I heard about this opening, and I was interested in learning more about it, learned more about it, and thought it was a good fit for my background. I have both managed volunteers, but also have served as a volunteer and serving as a volunteer currently. I serve on the Women in Development of Worcester County. That is a consortium of women leaders in advancement development who get together to help one another develop professionally in the fundraising field. So we have speakers. I am a speaker sometimes. I teach fundraising through Boston University, which is an online class. I also serve my university, the University of Maine, as a member of the executive committee of the Alumni Association board. So I know what it's like to be on a board. I know the difference between the staff role and the volunteer role. And then I've also been staff to boards at MIT and Boston College, where I manage many, many volunteers, but also boards of volunteers. So that's who I am.
Wonderful. All good stuff. That's great. That's wonderful. Tell us why, again, what do you hope to bring to the committee, and what would you like to see accomplished? What would you like to accomplish?
Yeah, so I got involved in town over this past year, had the opportunity, literally knocked on, I think about 700 doors on behalf of the candidate, and had an opportunity to speak to people I didn't know. Also 21 years in the town, I have obviously spoken to a lot of people over those years. I'm a natural extrovert. My kids play a lot of sports, so I've spent a lot of time, learning about how people live here in Northborough. And one of the things I know, in fact, all of my immediate neighbors are senior citizens, have always been. And one of the things I know is that there is a big issue with people wanting to stay in town, but not being able to afford their homes or finding places to downsize. I come from a community in Maine where that is easily accomplished. I'm from Portland, Maine. Obviously a bigger city where there are different types of housing. And I've seen it with my neighbors immediately, but also talking to people as we campaigned. One of my habits is I'm a runner, and I actually campaigned while I was running. And now I still do it as a habit. I talk to people. And so I talk to them about what their issues are. And that is a lot of what I hear, particularly among senior citizens. It turns out that Tower Hill also attracts a lot of seniors to the gardens and actually volunteers. And it turns out many of them are from Northborough. So I've gotten to know people in that vein too. One of them, Anita Hagspiel, and I spoke about her role with the senior center, and she was very encouraging for me to come forward. I think I bring to the table logic and strategic thinking. I do have the background in fundraising if that is ever needed. And I'm a planner. And so I love to both listen and contribute in terms of whatever is needed, whatever problem is trying to be solved. I feel like I bring a good head to that in terms of strategic thinking.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Now, Adrian, can you hear us yet, or no? I guess not. We're not having any luck with Adrian. If Adrian was able to explain what the committee does, she would obviously explain what they do and when they meet and so forth. So what I'm going to do is read from the town website a quick description of the Council on Aging for your purposes, but also for the audience. The Council on Aging consists of 9 members appointed by the Board of Selectmen for 3-year terms. The purpose of the Council on Aging is to maintain or increase the quality of life for the mature citizens of the community. This is done through support, advocacy, planning, coordination, and implementation of programs that bring mature citizens together for social, recreational, and educational purposes. They seek to educate the entire community and enlist its support and participation. And the meetings take place on the second Tuesday of the month at the Senior Center at 7 p.m. So first of all, does that schedule jive with your schedule in terms of meeting attendance?
It does.
Okay. Okay. And that description is in line with what you perceive to be what that group?
It is, yes.
Okay. Scott, do you have any questions?
In research.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yeah, so thanks for volunteering, Teresa, to this committee. I guess, are there other boards, committees, organizations that you're a part of in town as well?
There are none presently, no.
Okay.
Oh, actually, several years ago when my children were younger, I helped actually with fundraising for the Northborough Recreation Department to send kids to the summer camp. I coordinated an effort. We did a phone-a-thon actually one Sunday afternoon and raised quite a bit of money, thousands actually, just calling citizens and suggesting that there was a need in town for kids who couldn't afford camp. And I have to say, I didn't get anybody who said no.
Excellent. Good work.
That is terrific. Is there anything else about the committee that you would like to know about? Is there you're pretty set on what you believe that they do.
Yeah, I think, just to point out a big connection for me is my work at Tower Hill and, who I physically see come through the doors. I think there could be a stronger connection with Northborough. There already is, but there, I think, are more citizens that could know about it. We do provide education, recreation, and I think there could be stronger ties, perhaps, to meet the needs both of the Northborough citizens, but also, open up Tower Hill's programs to people who may not know about them already.
Mhm.
They serve this population quite well.
Okay, so you feel some more public relations work would be helpful in getting everyone to be aware of what's available to them in terms of services and resources.
Yeah, it's so close. And I know even my medical doctor told me, who mostly serves seniors, said that she sends her patients there because, it's a place of respite for people, of healing, a place of beauty. I see a connection to, well, I told you, I go running and I talk to people. Every time they have a garden, we connect over that topic. And I know it's something that people care very much about, the beauty of this town, but connecting it back to being inspired by going to Tower Hill and seeing what the real horticulturists can do. So I've been there since February, and I've seen this deep connection, and I'm a connector by nature, and so I just see a strong connection and possibilities there. But that's not the only thing, of course.
That was a good pun, actually. Connector by nature.
Yes.
I like that.
I love people. I love.
Right.
I also thought about something today. My very first job was in a nursing home, and I cleaned it. That was my first job, and I loved it because I got to meet each of the residents. And sometimes people are lonely and they just want somebody to listen to them, which is a good fit for me as a 16-year-old.
Absolutely. That's a huge experience. Well, what we're going to do, unless there's anything else you would like to add, or do you have any other questions of us, or
Just curious what the timeline is for the decision making. It sounds like there are 2 candidates and 2 openings, but nothing's a lock. So.
Right. So what we'll be doing, what Scott and I will be doing at the end of this meeting, and after we interview the 2 people for another committee, we'll be discussing and deliberating, and then we'll make motions at the end of our meeting. And then these appointments would be made at our August 23rd Board of Selectmen meeting, after which point, and you will be appointed because you're one of 2 people and you seem very well qualified. So then you would need to get sworn in so that you can participate in the meetings and vote.
Okay. That sounds great.
Yep. So that's it. So thank you very much. We appreciate you taking the time, and we apologize for the delay.
Oh, that's okay. I appreciate your time, and look forward to seeing you all.
Great. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Great.
Thank you. And Adrian, thank you very much. Sorry that the connection didn't quite work out well.
All right.
Thank you for your work too. Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.
Take care. Okay. Okay. Jim, if you could please bring in Norm Corbin and our first interviewee for the Historic District Commission, Janine Vitale.
So I do not see Janine in there. I do see Amanda.
Oh. No, Janine. Has she been in at all and it dropped her, or?
No, not that I have noticed. I only saw Norm in there up until recently, and then Amanda came in, but I have not seen Janine join yet.
Well, we are running behind. I don't want to keep further delaying this. So I think, Scott, if you agree that we should just go ahead and do conduct
Yes.
Amanda's interview. Okay. Okay. So we'll bring Amanda in then. That would be great.
Can you everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, hi Norm.
How you doing? Hello, hello.
How are you? Nice to see you, Norm.
It's been a while.
Good. Here we are, still in Zoom.
I know it.
How are you?
And does Amanda know she's muted?
Amanda, are you on? Yeah, there we go.
Yep.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
Hi, welcome to our Board of Selectmen interview committee. My name is Leslie Rutan, Board of Selectmen, and this is Scott Rogers, another Board of Selectmen member for the interview committee. And we have Norm Corbin here, who is the chair of the Historic District Commission. And we thank you very much for being here, Norm. And Amanda DeRozier Millette.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it very much. Sorry for any delays. So Amanda, if you could tell us about yourself. We can see your application, but members of the audience can't. So if you would like to tell us about your background and what your interest in the committee is.
Sure. So I grew up here in Northborough. I lived here up until college and then moved various other places. I'm actually back in town now, raising my two kids here. I have been a part of the Historical Society for a number of years through my parents. I was actually, I started a Facebook group called Save the White Cliffs when the building came up for sale. Everybody was saying, oh, you know, it's going to get tore down. And I wasn't okay with, you know, sitting back a year later and saying, oh yeah, we were right. So I thought that we needed to make sure that didn't happen. I love history. I do genealogy work for my family. I'm always interested in the history of the town. I am probably third or fourth generation that's been in the town. My family's been here for quite a while. So I just have a good love for Northborough.
Wonderful.
So it looks like you lived here in town for 25 years. Is that total with your?
That's total. Yeah. So I lived here up until college. And then I moved back 2019. So like 2 years ago, I moved back into town.
Okay. It's a nice amount of years.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there other, actually Scott usually asks this question, but I'll go ahead. Sorry. Have you served on other committees? You have interest in other committees in town?
I have not served on other committees, no. Norm had mentioned that there were available seats on the Historic District Commission, and I had never really thought about joining anything, but I really like the history of town and wanted to be a part of it.
What do you envision accomplishing, or what would you like to accomplish yourself on this particular committee?
I don't know, probably just getting the town more aware of the history, making, you know, I feel like the Historical Society, the meetings are always, you know, my parents' generation and older. I want to kind of get more of the younger people in the town interested in the history of it through the Historic District Commission.
That's actually a very good point. I think that the younger groups in town would benefit greatly if they knew a little bit more. There's some interesting posts I see on Facebook where I think it might be Ellen Racine, who is, I think it's Ellen? Not positive.
The house posts?
Yes. And
yeah, I'm not sure if that's Ellen. I think she's pulling the information together.
It's Lois Smith is doing all of the house things for
oh,
the.
she is. Okay,
Lois
they're
Smith.
wonderful.
But she's accessing all the resources of the society.
That's wonderful. I think that's great information. Sometimes I'll do a screenshot and text it to my kids and say, hey, look, did you have any idea that this is, you know, you drive by these houses, you don't think twice about it. And I think it's fascinating. So I think, you know, getting the younger groups of people and kids involved would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Scott, do you have any questions of Amanda?
No, I mean, Amanda, you did a great job describing, your interactions around White Cliffs and your participation in the society. So that's great to see. I think you'd be a great addition to the commission.
Thank you, Scott.
So Norm, if you could tell, I know you've been involved for so long and you know all the ins and outs of this, could you explain what your group does and what you are looking to accomplish in the coming year?
Sure. I guess part of it will be for people looking at this in the future. So we're a part of the town organization. We're not the Historical Society. That's a private entity. Although we do have similar goals to the society, it's really to get the people of the town to recognize the history we have in town. We're fortunate because we have access to Community Preservation Act funding, and with that, we're able to do a variety of things with signs in town and White Cliffs, of course, to save the properties. A big part of what we're trying to do now is educate people who own antique properties and see what their interest might be in finding ways to preserve it for the long term. The big project we have going on this year really is putting together a historic preservation plan. And Amanda hit on a couple topics that are in our historic preservation plan, draft anyway, is trying to bring a younger audience to the history of the town. So there's a lot of common ground there. So with some of the things that Amanda mentioned, I mean, it's having someone who's younger on the team, who's grown up in town, it's a real advantage for us. We bring in some people with a history interest, and they may be very new to the community. They're very valuable, but it takes them a while to really appreciate those little nuances about these little historic spots and stories we have. So I'm pretty pleased. I've known Amanda since she did the White Cliffs website. That's almost 5 years ago, if you can believe it. And I know she'll be a real asset to us, which I really appreciate.
Could you explain a little bit more about the historic preservation plan and what would be the components of a plan like that?
Well, we've been working with the Mass Historical Commission to guide us for this plan, and really the core of it, what we're writing now is based on the master plan that was done several years ago. There was a section of the master plan that was called Cultural and History, and if you go through that, you'll see the general topics that should be addressed in the future. And what we're doing is we're using that as our foundation and listing very specific things that we think should be considered down the road. I've been working on just the last few days, some sections of it. So the meat of it is to really spell out the different topics that we should be addressing down the road for the next 10 years or so. Some of the big highlights are how do we address working with the Trails Committee and find out how to open up the aqueduct for walking? How do we, what are the long-term things we can support for White Cliffs? How do we start getting into the schools and find out how we can access the schools for their programs? And is there something we can help just to bring more of the history into the town? So we're generating a pretty good list of things to do. That obviously the trick will be to get them done, but I think the town of Northborough has never had a historic plan. So we're starting from a blank sheet of paper.
That's fantastic. That's very exciting.
Yeah, it's going to help us guide what we need to do in the future. I think we all know what we want to do, but I think we really got to get pen to paper and spell it out for others.
And that'd be something that everyone on the committee would be working toward, correct?
Yes, absolutely. So right now we're looking at someone to do a lot of editing, make sure we get all the key topics, so the document is well prepared.
Fantastic. That's wonderful. Well, thank you very much. Amanda, do you have any other questions of us or of Norm?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, Amanda and I have spoken earlier, so she has she's also, you viewed some of the videos online. She's attended some of the meetings that way. So she's, and with her history background, she's tuned in pretty quick.
Wonderful. So what Scott and I will be doing after we end this session is to deliberate online now. And we will be making our motions at the end of the meeting, and then the appointments will be made at our August 23rd Board of Selectmen meeting. and after which point you would need to get sworn in by the town clerk so that you can vote.
Okay.
So.
Well, just while we're on that topic of voting, so Amanda's applying for an alternate position. So the alternates only vote when we need a we need a quorum.
Yes.
But we do expect our alternates to really step on board and help us out a lot.
Absolutely, absolutely. And alternates never know when they're going to have to all of a sudden join in. So I think that that's critical. You never know. There could be a variety of reasons. So yes, that would be fantastic. So that would be the next thing that you would need to do after August 23rd, would be to get sworn in. So, but we want to thank you very much for your time. Thank you for applying. Thank you for being here, and sorry for the delay.
That's okay.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Amanda.
much.
Thanks,
Thanks, Norm.
We appreciate it. Take care.
Great. Thanks, Leslie and Scott.
Thank you. And thank you, Norm. Thank you for your time.
All righty.
Thanks for all your work. We appreciate it as usual.
We try. So I know we had another candidate. She's not logged in yet? Is that the?
Yeah, I'm not seeing her. Apparently, it's not like she was in and had somehow been dropped. So I don't.
When Amanda leaves, do you want me to give her a call and see if I can find out if she just forgot about us, or do we just move on from here?
If you want to do that, that would be great. I would say if she's available immediately, though, would be great, because otherwise.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe since you're already running late behind schedule, this could delay things quite a bit. So I'll contact her and ask her to reschedule if that's the problem.
That makes sense. Yeah, to reschedule.
Okay, that's easy to do.
Okay.
All right.
I appreciate your offering to do that.
No problem.
Okay.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Before you deliberate, I just wanted to let you know I did receive an email from Adrian. She did say she was having some trouble, but her comments were, I welcome both candidates to the COA. So I just wanted to pass that forward before you guys continued.
Okay, I appreciate
that.
Thank you. That's good input from her. That's ultimately what we would need anyway. So. Okay, so what we're going to do now is deliberate again for the Council on Aging. We have 2 openings, regular seats, and we had 2 individuals interviewing, Liz Nasser and Teresa Lee. We have one opening is for a term to expire on April 30th, 2023. And the other position is for a term to expire on April 30th, 2024. So, Scott, we will just open it up and speak. Really, I think both candidates seem very well qualified.
Yeah, absolutely. No reservations. Liz has a great wealth of experience. Teresa has a great background in networking. I think both of those skills added into the council would be a great fit. So no hesitation, reservations there.
Right. And as I said at the previous interview, sometimes we may get applicants that don't necessarily fulfill the qualifications that we need for a particular committee. And if we have one person for an opening, it's not always necessarily going to be a good match. But in this particular case, I do feel that both applicants are well qualified. They both bring to the table different things. I think in Teresa's case, she has this wealth of fundraising background, which I think could come in very handy because, I think a lot of that could be done, a lot of PR work and so forth through her work at Tower Hill and so forth. And then we have Liz Nasser, who is a neuropsychologist and has worked in other communities and has gotten to meet or attend meetings with their councils on aging. So really it's just a matter of who do we recommend for the term that ends in 2023 and the one that ends in 2024.
Yeah, and as I thought about that, trying to apply some logic, if you will, I'm thinking of capturing Liz's experience for the longer term would be one way to sort it. So have Teresa join us for the term expiring in 2023 and then Liz for the term in 2024.
Okay. That sounds reasonable. Again, they both have fantastic experience. I think the fact that Liz is a geriatric neuropsychologist, I think, can bring a nice perspective to the group with her work in other communities. So, and making house calls and having that access. And I think Teresa, with her fundraising background and her comments about Tower Hill, fantastic. So I would agree with that. Okay. So Teresa Lee, and then Liz Nasser. Okay. Should we make the motions now, or do you want to wait for that?
Yeah, let's go ahead and finalize that bit. So I move the interview subcommittee vote to recommend Teresa Lee for appointment to the Council of Aging for a term to expire on April 30th, 2023. We'll make that recommendation at the August 23rd Selectmen's meeting.
Okay, and I'll second that. Do we have any further discussion on that? No, I don't think so. All those in favor? Aye.
I was waiting for the roll call.
Scott, yeah, sorry. Okay.
And by the time there's a motion and a second and a party of two.
Exactly. Okay.
So also move that the interview subcommittee vote to recommend Liz Nasser for appointment to the Council of Aging for a term to expire on April 30th, 2024. And we'll make that recommendation at the August 23rd Selectmen's meeting.
Sounds good. I'll second that. Any further discussion? Okay. All those in favor? Scott?
Aye.
Leslie, aye. Wonderful. Okay. So we will be bringing those recommendations forward at our next Selectmen's meeting. So moving on to the Historic District Commission, Janine Vitale was not able to join us. Unsure of the reason. Norm will be contacting her to find out if maybe she can, if she is still interested, can interview at a later time. But we did interview Amanda DeRozier-Millette, who has had some exposure to this committee and has been involved in town with some other, the Save the White Cliffs Facebook page is obviously passionate about that, does some genealogy work, hopes to accomplish some awareness in terms of trying to bring younger people into the realm of interest as far as historic issues in town and buildings and so forth. So I think she'd be a wonderful asset to that committee, and obviously Norm feels the same way. So
yeah, agreed. Wonderful addition, and no reservation on her appointment to that commission.
Okay. We have two openings, and these are alternate openings. One expires on April 30th, 2022, and the other one expires on April 30th, 2024. Do you have a feeling in terms of?
Yeah, without putting Janine at a disadvantage, but given Amanda's background, I would tend to lock her in for the longer period, given her background and her already connection to the society and to the commission. Yeah. So that's I'm leaning towards the longer appointment there. Janine, I know we've spoken to before as part of another committee interview, and we have a bit on her background, wonderful background as well. Look forward to interviewing with her, and then we'd look to put her in the second alternate member spot.
Okay. Yes, I would agree with that. I think that would be fantastic, and seems available. And again, you never know when an alternate is going to need to vote on something. It could be a variety of reasons a regular member can't be there, or has to, or moves, or something else like that. So, and I think Amanda would be a great fit for that for as long as we can have her. So do I hear a motion?
Yes, I move the interview subcommittee vote to recommend Amanda Millette for appointment as an alternate member on the Historic District Commission for a term to expire on April 30th, 2024. And we'll do that at the August 23rd Selectmen's meeting.
Okay, I'll second that. Any discussion? Okay. All those in favor, Scott?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So that's great. We want to thank Liz Nasser, Teresa Lee, and Amanda DeRozier-Millette for their time, and also for a little bit of a delay as we tried to get Adrian Cost hooked up, but we couldn't
You
unfortunately.
really tried. Credit to her to give it her all to try to get in there.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think we're all set. And the next action will be, we have interviews next week.
On August 16th.
August 16th, which is next Monday. And then we have our selectmen's meeting on the 23rd, and then we'll bring all those recommendations we brought forward at that time. So I want to thank Jim DiGiulio for hosting this meeting. We'll see you on Monday. And thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Leslie. Good night.
Good night. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thanks.